Hello, we will now see how do you pass structures as parameters to functions and how can a function return a structure. So let us look at, here we go back to our favorite structure, point structure. There are two members A and B, both of which are floats. Let us write a function which takes this point structure as a parameter, as an input parameter to that function, and it returns the square of its distance from the origin. It is going to return a float. Function name is distance square, and it is going to take as input a struct it is going to take as input a variable x which is of type struct point. Now let us write the function. What should the function return? The function should basically return a square plus b square. That is what we need. So the main program will be something like this: int main so struct point y is equal to, this is another way to initialize the members of this variable y. That means this is equivalent to y dot a is 10 and y dot b is 20. This is a shorthand notation to declare and initialize at the same time. I need to pass this structure to this function, and it is exactly like how you would pass an integer or a float. You are going to write you're just going to pass that structure y. That's it. And what happens in this case, when you pass the structure y, internally you should think what is happening is the following. It's equivalent to thinking x equal to y. X becomes equal to y is assigned, so that is, it's copied. Whatever the contents of y is copied here. So remember that if y had some pointers, only the pointer values will be copied to x. Okay, so there is no deep copy in there happening. So x becomes equal to y, and then this line statement is executed and the value returned. So clearly we can take this value here int. Right? So we can take it into an integer x, the value which is returned, and you can print, etc. Right? This is clear. We want to write a function which returns a structure. So the same structure, the struct point, we are going to return. The function we are interested in is which it takes a vector, a point struct as input parameter, and it returns the vector which is basically the reflection of this vector on the y axis. Okay, so that is, if I have the xy plane here, if this is the value, I want to return this. Okay, so that is, if this is a comma b, I want to return minus a comma b. So this is a function I am interested in writing, and let's call that function reflex x. The function is going to be of type. What is the return type of this function? The return type of this function should also be a struct point. So struct point is a return type. The function name is reflect x, and it takes input parameter a struct point x. and now I need to return a structure, right? And for that I have to first declare a variable y, and I am going to write y dot a is equal to minus x dot a, because that's what has happened when you reflect. If it was this, you should get this. And y dot b is same as x dot b, and you're going to simply return y. So this y is now returned. Okay, so you can see the return type is struct point and y is also struct point. Now let's look at the main function, what happens in the main function. So in the main function, I am going to create a struct I have declared a point x, a variable x, and it's been initialized to 1020, and I also declared a variable y, and I am going to assign y is equal to reflect x. Okay. Right. So this is it's as simple as how you return an integer or a float. Only a small catch. Again, the thing we talked about falling into a trap because of the copying. That's the only thing you need to keep in mind when you do this thing. If you had pointers etc. in your data structure, in your structure, then the copying will be a shallow copy, which means things may not go according to what you had imagined it to be. So that's the only thing you have to keep in mind. So that means when you reflect x, what happens is that this y, so let me just change this variable to z. What has happened is that this y is returned here. You should see this as equivalent to z equal to y. Okay, so this value which is returned, z is equal to y, that's how you should imagine how the program is going to execute it. Okay, so that's a copying of y, the contents of y into z. You should think along those lines. So it will be a shallow copy if we were using pointers. Thank you.